Listen up, geeks! We got some Nintendo news for you. You're going to want to listen into our thoughts and opinions on the latest Direct. Then we have a big case today all about Magic the Gathering, everyone's favorite collectible card game, but not everyone's. Stay tuned as we render our verdicts in an exciting, nerd-tastic episode. What you are listening to is real. The parties involved are not cool. They are actual geeks with a case pending in the court of public opinion. The party's case has been dismissed, and the dispute will be settled here on our podcast. There will be no lawyers. There will be no witness testimony. The judge's decisions are final.
Hello, I'm Judge Ivan.
I'm Judge Jonathan, and this is Geeks on Trial. Today's case, keeping the magic alive.
Hello and welcome to Geeks on Trial. This is the podcast where we settle petty disputes between actual geeks over movies, video games, board games, and more. If you'd like to submit your own geeky case for a future episode, you can email us at geeksontrial@gmail.com. You can also help support the show over at patreon.com/geeksontrial. For just $5 a month, you gain early access to both our audio and video episodes, plus our brand new show, which isn't really brand new, but it's new to you if you subscribe, Geeks on Trial Sidebar. In my head, it's new. It's always new. It's a new episode.
At what point do you just remove that from the copy you're reading?
Actually, this is the first time I haven't been reading a copy. I have it memorized now. But, okay. I mean, it is technically new. It's season 2 of Sidebar.
Season two has just begun, and we have a new episode up about... Was it our... Maybe it's our last meal? I don't remember which one went up first.
Couldn't tell you.
It's something interesting. It's something very, very interesting. You're going to want to check it out. It's exclusive to our Patreon. We appreciate that.
It's so exclusive, we can't even see it.
We aren't even allowed to check it out.
We don't pay for it.
But we are happy you're here with us, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in your little earbuds on a podcast app or something. Because this is a big week. It's hot out.
Huge.
Pretty hot out here.
Hot out
it's
too.
Pretty hot in these rhinos. All
hot
of the above. Too. All of the above. It's so we're trying to stay cool. We're trying to beat the heat with some video game news before we get our show started. Now, as we've mentioned previously, it's June. It's the not E3 month in the video game world.
It's gonna be June.
Doesn't. And Nintendo finally entered the fray, and they came in this month with their Direct for June, wherein they unveiled a whole bunch of things. We'll talk about, I think, mostly the major first-party announcements that they made. I'll kind of just list the big ones right now, and then, Ivan, you can tell me which ones caught your fancy.
Now, before that, can you give me a Nintendo has entered a Super Smash Brothers? Give me your best Super Smash Brothers. Nintendo has entered the...
That was really good what you did. I don't know if I can top that.
Well, my voice is just crap.
Nintendo! Is that good?
No, you're right. Never mind. So let's continue. Let's just move on from here.
I told you I couldn't cop. I don't know what you wanted from me. I can't do that.
I thought you would have a good announcement.
Nintendo! I can't do the Smash.
That's what.
Anyway.
Well, you try.
Here's the announcements. Here's the big ones, the highlights for you in case you missed it. We got a brand new look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which is scheduled for release in 2025. We announced a new the two of us.
You work for Nintendo? You are the voice, aren't you? You are the voice. Good for you.
That's why it's so good.
Good for
That's why it's so good. We got a new Legend of Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Is that what it's called?
Sure.
Echoes of Wisdom. Sorry, I have my notes over here, and I'm trying to look at the camera too, and it's just making it awkward.
This is how we can tell you work for Nintendo.
Mario and Luigi Brothership, Super Mario Party Jamboree. We got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. Some new stuff added to the Nintendo Switch Online, some old games like Perfect Dark and Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. There's a new Marvel Capcom fighting game collection. We got word of the new Dragon Quest 3 and 1 and 2 HD remakes, and a whole smattering of other first party and third party announcements were in there as well. Those are the ones that to me were like the biggest ones from Nintendo, or like Switch relevant kind of announcements.
A smattering, you say?
A smattering. Now, I was on the front lines of this. I was watching it, covering it as it occurred. So I'm really
live tweeting.
I'm in the shit. I'm deep in the shit.
Oh,
but Ivan, you're not as deep in the shit. So I
You
want
don't
to
know my personal life.
what left out at you from this presente.
So I have a few. I watched the videos as you posted them because you are my newsman. You throw the newspaper at my house every morning, and I never pay the bill.
Extra YouTube links. Here you go.
Yeah, it's weird. You print out YouTube links and you throw them at my house. I don't know what to do with them. I honestly don't know.
You have to copy and paste those.
I have to copy. No, I have to write them. You print them out. It's on a news. So I'm super excited. Like out of everything that's on here, Ace Attorney is like the big thing I'm excited for because I never owned any of them. I have watched, like I've played them. Like people have given me their DSs and whatever, and I've played them, watched videos of them. I want them. I want, on a new console with a bigger screen. I want to try them out.
The thing that you're excited about is the thing you've never played, but that's nice. Well, do you know what this is? Because it's a little different from a normal Ace Attorney game.
It's like a collection, no?
Yes, but it is a collection of 2 games that are a spin-off of the main Ace Attorney series. So if you want to play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, they already remade all of the other ones on Switch. They're there. You can go buy them right now.
So what do I need this shit for?
In collections.
I'm excited for nothing, really, I guess.
Those collections exist and have existed for a few years. This is a spin-off that's a slightly different gameplay style, and what's really exciting about it is that the second game in the series was only before now ever released in Japan.
Gotcha.
So this is the first time it's had an official English translation. That's what most people are really excited about. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty fun. I actually own the first game. It was on DS.
Right.
But of course I have not played the second one. So yeah, I was excited about this.
I'm also excited.
What else?
The new Metroid looks fun. Now, is this a brand new game?
Yes, it's brand new. It's
brand
number
new
4.
Game. Well, because it's 4 with another title. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have HD after it, so that's how I know it's not really,
It's not a remake or a remaster. Well, Metroid Prime 2 was Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. So this does follow a formula. This Metroid Prime 4, for those of you keeping track at home, was announced 7 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Never came out until now, which to me doesn't feel like I'm like, oh, it was the beginning of the Switch's lifespan. Right. Now we're at the end. It's not like a crazy long time until I saw a YouTube comment where someone said this game was announced when I was 10 years old, and when it comes out, I will be 18.
You get in your car, you find out where they live, and you slap them.
But do you realize how long a span of time that is to be waiting? Was there anything when you were 10 years old? Like, imagine a game being announced and it didn't come out until you had graduated high school.
I wouldn't
have how different those 2 experiences are.
Truthfully, I probably would have forgotten about it, would have moved on from it. But I also don't think that would have
Metroid. It's your favorite
I also don't think that would have happened.
Well, back then it didn't.
Because
unless it was Duke Nukem Forever or Half-Life 3.
Well, yeah. But I feel like now the stretch in time in video games and how they keep pushing stuff is kind of big because we have e-content and old content that we can pull out and like digital content that we can just push out. So like Nintendo can be like, yeah, we have 7 years till this game comes out, but we'll give you some of the old games as some appetizers or like now, like back in the day, they needed to constantly have physical new media. Now it's like, oh, we could have some indies. We could like there is content coming out. Where back then there wasn't, so they really couldn't wait 7 years, or else that franchise would be dead.
Yeah, well, it was for a while, the Metroid franchise, but clearly there were some issues with this game behind the scenes. I mean,
hope so.
It was being made by a completely different studio, and then I think 3 years in, they like restarted from scratch with Retro Studios. So I don't think they intended for it to take this long. And this is not Nintendo's MO now. Now their thing is what they did with the rest of the show, which is usually they wait until a game is like 6 months away before they even mention it, which is where we got, for instance, the brand new Legend of Zelda game. I mean, this is pretty big. It's the first Zelda game where you play as Zelda. She's the main character of the game.
So all the parents who call it the main character Zelda will be right. They'll be correct. So our generation, when we start calling her Zelda, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's Zelda. It looks cool. I'm happy about like being able to play as Zelda. I don't like the art style. I'm
Oh,
like
I'm sorry to hear
it's
that.
very like I can't. The only thing I can say it's like gummy. Like it looks like
It's
I don't know.
cute.
It's cute, but it doesn't match like any of the other current games, or even like I was thinking about like
Well,
I think it was Wind Waker. That was cell shaded, right? Wind Waker.
yes, yes.
That was kind of like the same thing, where it's like, oh, they went to a different art style for most of the Zelda games than they did for that one. So it's kind of like the same thing, but it's a little bit too, I don't know. Like they
It
look
just
like
doesn't jive with you.
the Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. The little people things.
I get it. I like it. I mean, I guess you haven't played the remake of Link's Awakening on Switch used the same art style.
Okay,
That's where this comes from. They're just doing that again. I think it looks better in motion when you're playing it, maybe than it does
which
in a
makes
trailer.
sense. Yeah,
But the fact that it's a top-down Zelda,
Right.
I think is great that they're doing that, and it seems like very different. I love that the whole thing is that Zelda can make echoes of stuff,
Right.
which feels like a very it feels like the Tears of the Kingdom, where they allow you to just kind of manipulate objects in the environment and do crazy things and
Right.
break the world. Like if there's a cliff you can't get over, you just make a stack
make
of
a new-
beds and
yeah.
climb up.
which I like games like that because it's kind of like what was like a Scribble Knots.
Scribble knots.
Where
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you just draw whatever you want and you just fight with that. Like that's the kind of cool, like that's kind of cool. But I do like I was looking at the art again. It kind of the first thing that popped in my head was a cell phone game. Like it has that that feel to it. Now I did want to go back real quick to Metroid.
Harsh. Yeah.
Do you wish they waited for the new console? Like they've waited 7 years. Why not like go and do like?
You say that. I don't know that they aren't waiting for the new console.
Okay, we don't have a date.
It is. They just said 2025. Now they do
Okay.
in the press release say Switch. At first, in the announcement trailer, they don't actually say or show the Switch logo.
Okay,
It does say it in the press release, though.
right.
But I think a lot of people, probably me included, are speculating that this is going to be like the Zelda games that have come out the last couple generations. It's going to be on both old and new Switch. You're going to be able to play the enhanced version.
This is the bridge game.
Yeah, I think there's a strong possibility of that happening.
Because I was that game out of all the games they announced is the best looking. So I was like thinking in my head, like maybe wait, like I said, you waited all this time for the better.
They might be, but remember
hardware.
they've been working on it on this hardware for
Right, that's
5
the other
years
thing, yeah.
plus. Like
For them to put it on a different console, it's like okay, shit,
Like imagine the people who bought a Switch just to play Metroid Prime
Right.
4. They'd be pissed. There's
Now,
also
what do
the
you?
new.
Go ahead.
Yes. No. You.
I was going to say, we see another Mario Party hitting the console.
Yeah.
What's the last Mario Party that you actively played? Not just bought and sat on the shelf and like fired it up once or twice, but like
The N64.
that's right. Okay, so no, you had the Wii U one. No,
Yeah, that doesn't mean I act. What do you mean by actively played?
like played more than like a couple times, like a handful of times.
Well, yeah, I played a handful of times, but not
Now,
like.
I just feel like announcing a Mario Party like this is kind of like a filler.
Look,
Okay, we need a game to
Yeah,
play.
you're right. Well, remember, honestly, I didn't expect anything from Nintendo this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
We know they have a new console coming probably next March.
Right.
This year, all we had so far was remakes and stuff like that, which is kind of what I expected out of this. The fact that we got Metroid and a new Zelda and a new Mario and Luigi
Right.
is pretty damn good. This is a brand new Mario Party game. Yeah, the problem is not the Mario Party games. It's that I don't get together with 3 friends all the time to play video games.
That too.
But I'm probably going to buy this.
Not online?
So, yeah, it has at least some. I'm sure it'll have online modes. It does have a new mode they announced that's like you can up to 20 players do some crazy
That's wild.
stuff.
But you would think, I'm hoping you could just play regular Mario Party.
Yeah, you
online
could in
with
the
4
last
people.
one.
Okay, you
could in the last couple. You could, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that will be a feature in this one. It looks cool. It has 7 boards, which is actually like maybe the most they've ever had.
Right.
The last
Which
game
is
was
wild.
only 4.
Because that doesn't seem like a big number for boards, but like
It shouldn't, but it is. It actually looks like it has some cool new stuff in it. So I am looking forward to it. It comes out just right in time for, the holidays. So.
Now, is it 7 new boards or is it 3 brand new ones and 4 ports from other systems?
It's actually 5 brand new ones and 2
Okay.
classic boards. But they haven't. Only the last game did the classics thing. So this is kind of a new thing that they're doing. I'm all for it. I mean, I don't care if they're old or new. And then the other big thing is the Mario and Luigi Brothership game. This is a big year for Mario RPGs. We got the Mario RPG remake, we got Paper Mario remake, and now a brand new entry in this series, which most people thought was dead. It's been 9 years since a new entry has come out.
What was the last one? The Game Boy Advanced one?
No, 3DS had
3DS, right? Okay.
I'm assuming, because we know you have never played an RPG, but do you think maybe you'll start with Mario and Luigi Brothership?
Well, I guess I did. If was the Mario and Luigi other games, like kind of in this franchise?
Yeah.
And I played those. Okay, so yes.
Okay. So
I forgot what the one with Game Boy Advance was.
Yeah, Mario and Luigi
Dream
might have just been the name
something?
of the first one. There was one of those. There was a Dream something. There was Partners in Time. There's like four of them.
This is another one where I'm also not keen on the art style. It's too.
Oh, really? I love this art style.
It looks a little like, I think it looks a little too like web comic-y. Like it's cool for a different game, but when you expect, like, I always expect Mario to be like either the regular 3D adventure games, like that kind of style, or just give me a regular side scroller.
It is pretty consistent with the GBA and 3DS visuals. It's just 3D, more 3D now, but
right.
It is very accurate, faithful, I guess, to that to what
those,
that
but just
like.
on a different HD screen. So I guess that's why it
Yeah.
looks funky. But yeah,
I don't think it looks funky. I think it looks good.
I find it funky. Let's fight.
All right, fight over. I feel like I feel like if you played it, you.
Oh no,
care,
that's like
you're
a super. Yeah, like that's a superficial
first impressions
thing,
though,
right?
I suppose. Yeah.
But like I said, it's probably it's going to be a fun game. It's Mario Luigi. It's
I hope so.
fun
It's exciting.
times.
It's exciting. I don't know anything. I mean, the Donkey Kong Country is just a remake,
right?
But that's
What was
fine.
that originally on? Was
the
that
Wii?
That was the Wii. Okay.
So first time it's in HD. So that's cool. Right. I mean, that's something.
Now, do they actually go back and like redo stuff, or do they just like scale it up?
I think they're just scaling it up.
Okay.
I mean, there might be some tweaks,
lack of better words, but
yeah, it's not like a full on remake or anything.
Right.
There might be some little quality of life improvements.
Because like Mario RPG, that was kind of like
that's a full on remake.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, all new graphics and stuff.
Right.
How about the fact that there's now a mature N64 app on the Switch?
So what games is that going to be? Like there was like not a ton of mature games, right?
There aren't very many, but they kicked it off with Perfect Dark, which is a pretty major one.
Yeah, that's a big one.
As well as Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Huh.
So they're on there. I mean, the other ones would be like Conker's Bad Fur Day,
the South Park games,
South Park, Mortal Kombat, Doom,
BMX,
Quake.
XXX.
That was GameCube.
That was GameCube?
Yeah, that was GameCube.
Okay.
That was not N64 era. Come on, you couldn't have enjoyed that nudity and with that low polygons.
You don't know me.
But yeah, there aren't a ton, but it's cool that they are doing it. It's cool that it's there.
Did the other consoles have more mature rated games or no?
Not really. Yeah, there's really no reason to do it on any of the other consoles.
I know like the other consoles had like
even existed for, I guess.
Like they had a Beavis and Butthead game, but I don't know if that was like
no. I don't know when
side scroller.
Yeah, I don't know how the rating systems work, but also they would censor games on the Super Nintendo. Like Mortal Kombat was not as bloody.
Right,
as the
green
Genesis.
blood or gray blood, or so wasn't it something stupid like that? Yeah.
Also, I think they just wouldn't care. Like, you could put an M-rated game and nobody would care, like, because it's so primitive.
Unless it was like cursing, like that would be the only thing. And I don't think Nintendo would be like okay with that.
But I think it's more of an ESRB thing that they want to keep it separate just for any, I don't know, potential complaints or legal stuff.
And just in case, because I guess every other game is rated, so you have to put it behind some kind of like parental locked wall just in case. And plus Nintendo's always been very family friendly. So doing this is very much a Nintendo thing.
Yeah. I mean, they've kind of shaken that reputation.
A little bit, but not,
There's, I mean, their own first party stuff is, but
now is there anything that you wish besides, a new console that they would have announced during this direct?
No, they pretty much completely exceeded my expectations. I wasn't sure. I definitely was not expecting a new Zelda or a new Mario and Luigi. I thought there's a chance we'll see Metroid Prime 4, but also there's a chance they don't even mention it. So, I mean, of course there's games. Sure, I wish they had Mother 3 and a new F-Zero and
Right.
new Chibi Robo. But, for what it was, I thought it was a great presentation.
And do you
overall.
wish there was anything that they would have waited besides Metroid maybe for the new console? Or do you think everything is like Switch centric?
Nah, honestly, this made me go. I was getting pretty impatient for the next console, but I was like, you know what? There's some life in this thing. I'm fine with this.
Yeah, they announced a bunch of like big games and a bunch of like big titles. I was surprised they didn't announce like more like Mario sports games, Kirby golf, right.
That's
games
what
like that, like filler
think.
games.
Yes,
Which
right.
once again wouldn't be mad about.
Yeah.
I love
But
me a good filler game. But I mean, I guess, did they announce a sports game? A Mario?
There's a Looney Tunes sports game that got announced.
Okay.
And they announced the new basketball mode for Nintendo Wii Sports, but that's Nintendo Wii Sports. I forget. It's Nintendo Switch Sports. I don't know what it's called. But it's got a free update of basketball.
Okay. So, yeah. So I guess they're just putting all their brain power into new console and whatever the launch title will be for that. What do you think the launch title is going to be for that?
Probably Metroid Prime 4, and I'm thinking possibly a new 3D Mario, but that's a bit more of a long shot.
All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Perfect.
We'll find out. We'll find out probably in the fall. I'm guessing in September. And there's got to be, I think, at least one more somewhat big first-party game for the holiday, because these are all kind of up through October-ish.
Yeah. Do you need something, even if the Switch is announced for, what do you say, March usually?
Yeah.
They come out. You need something to bridge the gap from now till Christmas, Yeah,
and Donkey Kong, I think, is next January, weirdly.
But I don't even know what would be the next big Christmas thing. Would they
I think it's going to be, there's been long talks of rumors of that they're going to do remakes of a couple of Zelda games. That would be an easy one. Just throw those out there. Or some other weird, I don't know, like Luigi's Mansion just had a game, but like a new Wario Land or some franchise that's like not the A-list franchise, but people can still get excited about for the holidays.
It would be cool. I've thought about this for a while, but it would be just a reimagining of the entire thing, of just redoing the original Zelda, Legend of Zelda.
I thought that's at first when they started showing that Zelda trailer, I thought it was a remake of the original Zelda before I realized it was brand new. But
because that would be cool, even like do a 3D version of that with kind of the same maps, give or take. But that would be a fun like throwback for like an anniversary year or something to like basically remake in 3D or 3D adjacent the OG game. That would just be fun.
Yeah, it would probably be in the art style you don't like though. All right, well that's it. That's the big Nintendo news. That kind of puts the capper on the non E3 month. But so pretty good stuff. I'm pretty excited for a lot of these.
Were there any announcements from like the non-big 3 console companies? Like any fun indie stuff? Anything for the like the indie handhelds that are out or anything? Like, do they announce during this time of year, or are they just kind of announce?
They do, yeah.
Okay, maybe that'll be a different.
Yeah, no,
different
we missed that window.
Oh,
I think.
well, shit.
Might have been last week. We didn't do it.
We didn't do it. Well, we did something else last week.
Yeah, they have plenty of other. We had to talk about Dr. fucking Pepper last week.
Yep.
But there people know what the fun stuff is. All right. Go look it up if you're curious to hear more. But we have to stop talking about video games and we have to enter the realm of physical playing cards.
Oh.
Because that's the subject of today's case, which comes to us from the internet. You can find a link in our episode description. Our defendant today is Lana. Lana is in a relationship with Basil. Bear with me. And Basil happens to be a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, the collectible trading card game. In fact, many of his friends and family share in this hobby, and they gather together quite frequently to play. The problem is that Lana is not into Magic. She says she used to enjoy the game, but she had some bad experiences playing with people, and now she no longer really has any interest in it at all. Meanwhile, Basil is constantly inviting her to Magic events with the friends and fam, and Lana feels excluded because she just really doesn't want to take any part of it, and no one ever suggests a different game to play with her, even though she's trying and giving people different board games and all kinds of other things that she does want to take part in. She feels that Basil should be compromising with her and finding some different activities they can enjoy together. As dual judges here on Geeks on Trial, it's now our job to determine whether Lana's beef is basic or if Basil's lifestyle isn't landing.
So how many magic parties have you been to? Like I always get upset because I wear the top hat, I bring my rabbit out, my cape, and they tend to kick me out of the comic book shops. And I just want
Don't
to
you
do
hate that?
a little, you know,
A little razzmatazz.
you know, and they just get upset because I often take one of their cards and make them sign it and put it back in the deck, and it costs, it's worth, you know, they get
you rip
touchy.
it in half, and then you're like, which card was
Pull
yours?
it from behind their ear. They get touchy when you touch their card. I take them out of the sleeves too. Don't get me. I gotta, because you're gonna know which card is yours if it's sleeved.
What a great gimmick that would be for a troll magician to be like, give me your magic deck, and you just like, you're just shuffling it, like riffle shuffling and all, like just sloppily, and you're like, yeah, which remember your card, and then you're like cutting it in half and swallowing it and throwing it in the air. Just
doing that thing where you pass the cards from one hand to the other and just drop, oh, sorry.
Yeah, and then, oh, is this your card? And it's just like a playing card and it's not worth shit. That's a good gimmick.
That's a good
gimmick.
We should do that.
We just did it, basically.
Oh, huh. Well,
or you show up and they're like, all right, let me cut your deck, and meanwhile you've got a lady in a box that you're sawing in half.
You're cutting the, yeah.
You're confused. It's
great.
I'm cutting it.
Now, is there a magic? Well, I don't know anything about magic. Is there a magic card? Do they have a card?
I don't know what that question means.
Like a magician on the card. That's also the magic card. It's a magic,
I'm sure there's
card.
I mean, there are certainly cards with magic wielders.
Oh, but not
there are
like,
people and things that do magic.
So there's not a Penn and Teller card or a Houdini card.
Not yet, but I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, they're stretching suit. Yeah.
We must have done a case where we discussed Magic the Gathering before.
We've spoken of Magic on this show at least.
We've done collectible card games. We've gone
TCGs.
over the fact that neither of us are really take part in that sort of lifestyle.
You couldn't tell by my wonderful magic joke that I just made?
That's the best.
For stretching of time in a podcast with a magic joke?
I guess to sum it up, that's basically... That's the gist of our takes on it, is that I guess I'm a little bit like Lana in that I sort of played a little when I was younger, but probably not even as much as her. Like because a few of my friends were into it, so I kind of tried to.
So you did play. I've never played Magic besides like going to some of the conventions with the old place we used to work at. I used to go up and they used to teach us, at the table, what did what. These are the new cards, yada yada, and I would get the free pack, and then it would sit in a box forever. Now that's about my extent. I think I might have played like a Magic. Like a digital version, maybe at some point in my life, but I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. I played Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game. Don't laugh at me.
It's just like saying you're a Pepsi family. It's just like what a bunch of losers.
Like in my opinion, it's Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh. Right.
But what's the? How are you ranking these? I don't. What's the
Coke, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi.
Is this which ones you like? Which ones you think are most popular?
In my opinion, like in the world of like what's popular in general, I would say Pokemon, Magic, or like what people would like name recognition. Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't know what the. I'm gonna look it up.
You're gonna look up the rankings? I don't know if it's a rankings or not.
Because I feel like Magic is number one in terms of card games. Of course, Pokemon, I'm sure, has more power overall with all their other merchandising.
Well, that's why I would say in general, because like I guess there wasn't a Magic the Gathering. I'm sure there was TV show, but there was a Yu-Gi-Oh show and there was a Pokemon show. But I also
true.
I never really played Pokemon that much either. I have played it. I have the cards. They were pretty to look at. They were fun to collect. But yeah, I never really. I don't know why Yu-Gi-Oh was the one I got into. It was at the summer camp you and I used to go to that I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. That was where I would play Yu-Gi-Oh as a teen.
You're a loser. You're a huge loser. Yeah. I don't have time to really. I couldn't find any info. People can tell us in the comments. But I'm pretty sure Pokemon and Magic. I think Magic's probably number one, but they're close. I think. I mean, Pokemon is huge.
I was more so saying like as a general. Like if you were to ask like.
In terms of just the franchise, as a whole,
Pokemon,
people
Magic,
know Pokemon for sure. But anyway, that's well, it's not neither here nor there. It's here, but it's not necessarily there. It's maybe one of them.
But where? do we go from here?
Exactly. But regardless of our engagement in Magic, it is the subject.
This could be really any game. You insert any, like, you guys, we've played legacy style games. So this could be a legacy game. You could throw this and have it be D&D.
Could be D&D, I suppose. It could be, it could be Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh!
It could also be like, if you just want to like straight up normify it, just poker.
Yeah. Right. It could be poker.
We're having poker night every night with the bros.
It could be chess. It could be gin rummy.
Wouldn't go that far.
It could be bridge or mahjong. It could
dominoes.
be any of those kinds of games that are maybe the quote unquote lifestyle games, the games that people will get together every single week to play all the time.
It is funny how a lot of those games are card based. Like I guess a stack of cards, be it just like a regular bicycle deck of cards or trading card style games, it is easier to transport for the most part. I've seen some people try to transport decks of cards, but it's easier than setting up like a full board game. Just here's some cards, let's play some whatever.
Yeah, it's and also most of those games have been around for much longer. Yeah. So they're easier to. Magic certainly has the edge in that there's constantly new stuff being released.
Right.
And there's reasons to get together and
competitions,
change your collections,
like
and yeah, there's all kinds of appeal there. Lucky Basil that his sister and his brother-in-law apparently are Magic players, right. So they're constantly getting together. It sounds like every week or so, like they have game nights all the time. Like if they're getting together, they're playing Magic. That seems like a rare thing for a family to game together to that extent, at least for me. They said they're in their late 30s, something like that. Like that's
it seems like Basil has like a huge
Oh, you're saying the British pronunciation?
It's Basil and Lana. Now it seems like they put this time and money into it, and it might have been like somebody in that group pulled other people in and got them hooked on it, gave them their first taste, and it kind of. But it also seems like game nights that have the same game all the time. Excuse me. Seem difficult to me. It also seems like boring to me. Like having a D&D night, fine. That's a different kind of thing. But like I guess it's not. But playing the same game every week, and I know a lot of people do it, and that's how like a lot of these games get like played very well. And it doesn't take 20 minutes to set up. People just know how to do stuff. But like it seems like it's boring to me that if we were to play the same game all the time. Now, we are fortunate to have quite a game library between the group of us, so we can switch out. But I feel like, just spending your money on one solo hobby, and yes, Magic the Gathering is growing more and more, but it's still roughly like you're spending, let's say, thousands of dollars over time on a hobby.
You could spend a lot less or a lot more.
Right. Oh yeah.
So we have definitely discussed this before, but it's fine at this point. We've run out of things to say. I think we're just going to have to embrace repeating ourselves ad nauseum for the rest of our lives in general, on and off air. But I'm similar to you in that I prefer, like, there's a reason I don't usually get invested in games like this, and I have a large library of board and card games, and I like to switch between them frequently and play different things and experience new things. But I'm also a little more sympathetic, I think, to that choice.
Oh, for sure.
I understand the appeal of it. Mm-hmm. And often there's games that I have that I wish I could play more, or that I did play every week. I couldn't even tell you. I'm like, maybe I would get sick of a game if I played it every week.
Right.
I've never done that.
Well, me personally, like ideally for like a game night, because there are certain games that we want to hit the table all the time. And I wish there was like a top 10 for me, like a 10 game cycle.
A 10 by 10. You want to make a 10 by 10.
I guess that's what that is.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's when people at the beginning of a year, they will make 10 games they want to play 10 times over the course of the year.
Which is great too, because A, it saves a lot of money. And B, like, you get to know your game, because how many games that we have played, we own, I own, you own, other people own.
That's we all own for ice cream.
We get through like the first 2 rounds of it, or the first 2 plays of it, and really never quote unquote unlock the special features or the other fun things in a game. and we basically have to start from scratch because, we played this game a year and a half ago. Like
Or-
that kind
yeah.
of thing.
Not even just the expansion or advanced
Right.
rules or stuff, but just the strategy layers too. I mean, I think of back in the day we had a smaller collection and we would play games more often. I mean, we used to have a bunch of people over. We would play something like The Resistance almost every week. I mean, we played that game all the time. There were a few others like that. I mean, Catan certainly got around a lot.
BSG, I guess it snuck its way in there at some point. The base
was more often, but that one is still a big game, so it wasn't like every.
But that was also like a special treat kind of game,
a special treat. But the thing about playing those games all the time is you start to develop in meta strategies, and you're like, oh, Steve always does this. So you catch on to what he's doing, and then you counter it, and he has to do this and that. And that's part of the appeal, especially with a game like Magic, where you start to develop those kinds of personal plays within your own play group.
And I'm like, I can see both ends of that, of where it's like, okay, I know that Steve's going to do this and then this and then this, but then I would get bored because I'm like, okay, play this card, Steve. He's going to do this, counter that, counter,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You force him to not do that anymore because now you know how to stop it. So that's how it shifts.
Which is why, I've watched Magic tournaments. I've watched people play either online, in person, or whatever.
What's wrong with you?
And I was drunk. And, you watch them. It's kind of like watching people play like a World of Warcraft or whatever. And it's like, how are you playing this exact same thing? Well, I upgraded my weapon by 0.5. I could do this much better. And it's like, that's not the type of gamer I am, where it's like a mechanical gamer in a way, not to like bash anybody or say anything like that, but it's like
harsh words. A mechanical gamer. They're going to be steaming.
But it's like, I did 10% better this game than I did last game. Let me try it again. But I also I know my faults. I have a certain type of ADHD where it's like, okay, give me the new. I want the new, the shiny, the upgrade.
Well, that's why you buy new cards.
Right. But I mean,
there's
yes,
always
it changes,
something new.
I guess a new card changes gameplay to an extent. But I also like every time we have a game night, it's there's a certain few games that are in the cycle again, but there's always a new thing that's hitting the table. And I like the new, the shiny. I'm a consumer. I consume new things a lot.
Yeah, I get that. I'm mostly on the same page as you. Now, how about always being invited to invited
boy
to a Magic party again? Not with
I've been to a lot
hats.
of Magic parties. There was ice cream cake and balloons. There's a clown occasionally.
I mean, I've been around when other people were playing Magic, and I've just gone, I don't want to. This is boring, but that's been when there's also other people who I can do something else with, usually.
Right. More interesting.
I've never really been in this situation where I have to just hang out and literally all anyone wants to do is play Magic that I'm not interested in. Or it could be any game. It doesn't have to be Magic, like you said. We could substitute any of these kinds of trading card games, or even it could just be a regular board game that maybe everybody gets together every week and plays Root or something.
Well, that's also why you have like a collection of, okay, these are the games that people always want to play, but I have a few 2-player games. So if 4 people want to go off and play their Magic or play, their campaign in D&D or a legacy game, you and someone else that you can find can play a couple party games or play a 2-player game or, stuff like that. Sure, it is splitting the group, which is kind of
not supposed to do that. Not supposed to split the party.
Great, because it's like, yes, game night is about playing games, or game event is about playing games, but it's also a social interaction time. So it's like, when you split the party, you're splitting the party. Like, it's
what do
two
you
different
do
things.
When you're literally the only person at the party who doesn't want to play Magic?
So Lana and Basil, they're a couple.
You got one right. Yep, they're a couple. They're together.
So, I do have this issue occasionally with my own relationship where it's like, oh, I always want to do a thing with my partner. But, at least once a month, I'll go hang out with my friends. He'll go out and hang out with his friends. So, and I think that is good for some relationships to split every now and then. And, just because I have certain hobbies doesn't mean you need to have also the said hobbies. Reading through the case file, there are some kind of like shitty things that are thrown around, like, oh, Lana, why don't you come over and babysit so we can play the game? Kind of like, okay, maybe why doesn't Lana go out with her friends? Assuming, this is a semi-new relationship. I think they said about a year and a half. So I'm assuming before this, they had their own lives. So, the same night that,
not the Magic players.
No. Well, that is their life. Magic is life. Magic is cult. But, while Basil is playing Magic, Lorna Doone can go out and play, another game if she's actually into gaming.
Right. Well, at what point does it become, at what point is it Lana's responsibility to just say, well, I'm not interested in this. I'm just not going to go. I've got other things to do. Right. And then at what point is it Basil's job to is he, if maybe it almost sounds like Basil's social activities are exclusively made up of hanging out with these people. It makes it, the way it reads is that it's like 2 or 3 times a week they're hanging out.
This is my Magic. Social interaction. If you don't like it, I don't know what you want to do.
Which is good for them that, in their 30s and 40s that they're able to get together this often to play games. Like, God bless them. I love that.
But also, on the other hand, maybe stretch out a little bit, broaden your horizons. You've been playing the same game for, 10 years now.
Well, my question is, because in the case file, she keeps saying, I just wish he would offer to play a different game. But I don't know if Lana has voiced her desire to play a different game, but I don't know if she necessarily needs to.
And the case file does say that she bought these people games.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which, for Christmas and holidays, she has given them games as gifts.
Which, is it that kind of thing? Like, oh, if you go to somebody's dinner party and you bring wine, do you want them to open the wine at the table? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it like, oh, I bought you this game, I want to play this game with you? Because I know that is some things that happen in friend groups. Like, oh, I bought this game for you, but it's for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That kind of, I guess, a sitcom-y, but that kind of thing. But
ideally,
I'm assuming that Lana and Basil are going to somebody else's house.
It sounds, yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm sure they go to theirs or whatever.
Why doesn't she host her own game night?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm on the day that you guys aren't playing, why don't you come over here? Because, with a lot of these cases that come into our courtroom, this is a courtroom. We have it's a lot of not even just communication, because this one sounds like there's communication going on, but one of the parties is very much against said communication. There needs to be some give and take. He was lucky enough to get a girlfriend, get a significant other, find someone who he enjoys spending, I guess, some of his non-Magic time with. So maybe you kind of have to compromise a little bit of your Magic time and give in to your significant other.
Sexually.
That's sexually. Well, I'm sure there's magic in the bedroom too. Well, probably no magic in the bedroom with Magic players.
Come on.
I mean, there's no no magic.
One thing the case file does not say is that she has offered or suggested another board game and the other players have refused it.
Right. It doesn't sound like there's no negative.
Right. It doesn't sound like they were like, no, we will not, which is why I think that she hasn't offered.
Right.
Because it seems like if she said, hey, let's play, they would just agree to it. But at the same time, maybe it just feels a little awkward because maybe they're just always like, oh, she might not have a chance if they're immediately saying, hey, we're having a Magic night. We love playing Magic. It's our thing. And also we're saying oh, she could hang out with a different group of friends, but maybe she wants to hang out with these friends.
Right.
Maybe she does like these people. She just wishes they would do something else.
And I get that, you want to open up your, like I said, they're at a certain age. We don't know how old they are. Well, I think we do, but it doesn't matter.
39, as she said, I think.
You know, you want to like broaden your ass. You're like you broaden your ass, broaden your like your
hell,
broaden your horizons a little bit, and like try some different things at that age in life. You know, like doing the same thing all the time. Sure, it's fun, and you're in a comfortable rut. But you want to try some other things. Like I know for like me personally, it's like, yes, I play video games, watch movies, watch TV shows, but I'll switch it up.
It could be the other way too, though. Like maybe, hey, I'm reached a point in my life. This is what I like. I've tried a bunch of stuff. I'm happy. If you're happy, just do you, man. Do whatever.
Now it is funny.
Do.
You were mentioning that like, you know, these are Magic players and these are board games. In my head, for whatever reason, Magic players are Magic players. Board game players are board game players. Like
There's
a lot of
definitely overlap.
There's 100% overlap, but like
there's 100% overlap.
100% overlap. 100, 100. It's a weird Venn diagram. It's kind of like a
yeah, it is
like an eclipse.
Right,
but like
right,
you know,
right,
like
right.
in my head, it's like the Magic players are the Magic players, especially this style of Magic player who is like like this is their thing. I feel like, you know, there is some overlap, but it's not like, you know, part of game night. Like I would never go to game night and like be like, let's play some Magic. Like that's not. It's a game. Yeah, very much a game.
It's it depends on your group. It depends on the kind of gamers you are. There's, often a Magic night is a Magic night the same way that a Halo
D&D
LAN
night,
party is
right.
not the same as just playing video games.
Right.
I could think of a reference
But that's
more
even
recent
like
than 20 years ago.
Just bringing in Dungeons and Dragons into it, like I would like normally if we were to have like a meetup for playing D&D, we are playing D&D.
Sure.
Like it takes a while. There's less, you know, there's
Right.
more things into it.
But
So
with
I feel
Magic, theoretically, a Magic game doesn't have to last that long. Even if it's like, I mean, a full-on Commander game or something. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It might take like a couple hours or something, but it's not like D&D is like you're in that for the long haul. Like, I mean, you could do a session as long as you want, but typically, if you're getting together, you're probably playing for at least 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Now, do you
but
think
Magic you could intersperse?
Do you think it's Lana's maybe responsibility to like, you know, bring it up? Sure, you know, be you know,
Aggressive.
talk,
be
aggressive. Talk to these people and be like, hey, I want to play something else. Or do you think Lana maybe should like, I have a friend, I should bring another friend to game night and maybe
bring a ringer in.
Introduce. Oh, while you guys are playing Magic, we'll play a 2-player game that piques some people's interests, and you know, like kind of like the Trojan horse it. You know, bring in some stuff.
That is,
and I don't know.
And then they open their friend up, and a bunch of little people jump out and they attack
Meeples.
them.
That's Meeples. That'd be a good game.
That's a trademark term now. Oh, we should talk about that. That's an actual legal battle that's happening right now, but we don't have time to get into it. Too much other stuff has been going on.
But like, you know, that's like what like my brain is going into what they can do. A, as a couple. B, like how Lana can kind of like can push this in. And make it not more about her because that sounds really shitty, but like more about like, hey, you guys play 3 nights a week, maybe 2.5 nights a week, and a half of the night we can play a small board game. Like show them the new fun, the new hotness, the new whatever.
The new.
But
code.
You're right. But I do, you know, hey, it's hard to get people together to play a board game once a month, let alone a couple times a week.
And Lana maybe doesn't have any other friends who are into board games, or they don't have the same flexibility of scheduling that these other people do.
And we don't like. I'm assuming Lana's a board game person.
Yeah, I mean, at least it sounds she is. She says she
like
is.
You know, and did she say she doesn't like the match? Like she doesn't like. I'm assuming she's tried to play.
Yeah, she said she doesn't. She's not into it anymore.
Okay, so you don't need like I said. Haven't really played Magic. It's not like a set group of people that need to play it.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's like a D&D campaign or anything like that.
No, you can easily swap out for whatever. Yeah. I'm trying to look through and see if there's any other thing jumping out at me to, you know, give me some more fire for one side of this or the other.
Because it doesn't seem this isn't an easy case. Because
I agree. It's a tough one.
As a partner, Bazell should be, hey, let's try doing something different. Let's, I'm bringing my girlfriend over. I'm assuming it wasn't just like a, here, girl, let's play. It was probably, over time. And you want to be able to interact with your partner and your friends and have a co-mingling relationship between the group. So it's like, maybe, like I was saying, them as a couple host. But it seems like he might be more of the problem because he wants, like, this is his game. And this seems like it was his game prior to Lana entering his life.
Right. I mean, if you were happy with your friends and you played Magic once a week,
I'm not.
And that's what you did every week and you liked it.
Right.
You aren't the same way that, I have a game night every week.
Right.
I don't want, and if I started dating someone who only liked Magic,
right,
I wouldn't just start playing Magic.
Oh, you would kick her out of the house. You'd be like, you need to leave.
I'd be like, this is we do board games.
But would you not open up and be like, hey, Friday's game or Saturday's game night, Friday's Magic night. I'll try to, because my personal thing with a relationship is you should both kind of like try each other's hobbies. Not
sure.
Like, sure, you should have some alone and single time and do whatever. But like, if you're into something and she's into something, you should kind of like get a taste of it and be like, oh, maybe I will like it. Because like how we grow as, humans.
But I already know I don't really care about Magic. Like, I know I don't have an interest in playing that.
Right. Well, you also wouldn't date somebody who played Magic.
But like, I mean, to me, it's the equivalent of like, oh, she's really into baseball.
Right.
And she wants to watch baseball. And I'm like, that's not what we're doing here.
No.
This is
like if she would have come to game night and be like, oh, can I put on the hockey game? You'd be like, we're done here. Have a nice day. Here's your pillow. Get out. Like,
sure, you can watch hockey in that room. I don't like that. It has nothing to do with what we're doing. That's almost how I feel about Magic versus board games. It's like
that could be like, but at the same time, that could be a commingling thing. There's people playing board games, but there could also be people at the event watching hockey.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, that's a different line to walk. I
but
feel like that's a conversation.
But there can be people playing, like Lana could be there with a friend, like I was saying, with a friend playing a board game, and the other people can be playing Magic. And then at some point, meet for dinner.
Yes. I think that's a great suggestion.
Some, and hopefully catch some people's eyes and, maybe sway them. Okay, once a month, we're going to do a board game night. The other 85 nights of the month, I don't math, can be for Magic.
Well, okay, so we are ultimately trying to decide if Lana is guilty of not wanting to play, of being too stubborn and excluding herself from these activities. I feel like we've reached a point where we have to start giving verdicts. I don't know if you feel strongly enough to go.
Because Lana's the one we're trying to figure out if she's guilty or not guilty, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what I said just now, 2 seconds ago.
So what we're doing here in this situation is trying to get a verdict based on Lana's
for Basil
story.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I guess I'll just go because I don't really know what I'm going to say, but I think I'm leaning one way. I certainly don't think that Lana has any obligation to play this game. Fuck you.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's no... if she doesn't want to play it, she doesn't want to play it. Because it's not as if, she refuses to try it. And it would be different if it was like, sometimes there's a board game I don't love, but it gets broken out at a game night like a couple times a year. And I'm like, I guess I'll sit down and play it. Like, it's not the end of the world. But when it's every week... it's not your thing. You don't need to play it, especially a game like Magic 2. It's not even the kind of game where you can, sure, someone else could have a collection and just hand you a deck, but you kind of ideally are supposed to be into it and like building your own decks, as opposed to, a typical boxed board game where even if you're not into it, it's not like you have to think about it. You can sit down and just start playing.
There's homework with Magic.
Right. I certainly don't begrudge her for just not playing it. I don't think she is excluding herself, quote unquote. Maybe she could be doing a better job of pushing games or pitching alternative activities. Because I certainly don't think, and it doesn't sound to me like she's saying that he should stop playing Magic. She just wants like an alternative sometimes or some other activity to do. I can see how this would be frustrating to have to put up with this week after week, especially if this is your partner and probably your primary outlet for social activity in a given week. It's a tough thing because we're seeing her perspective, and I don't think I have a full picture of exactly how much effort she's putting in to trying to make these changes. Not like knowing what these game nights look like or seeing the other side. I don't feel like I'm fully informed, but based on the knowledge that we have, I think if I have to render a verdict, then I do.
You do?
I don't think that she is guilty of being frustrated or not wanting to play this game. I think I'm going to say not guilty.
So I do, with a lot of your talking points, I do agree with you because, like,
Lana.
You don't have to like everything. What was that? You don't have to like everything that your partner does and vice versa. And, it does seem like he is not really reaching out and pulling her in to play this game that she may or may not like. And some of the things that were said in the case file of, oh, why don't you come and hang out with the kids, which I guess was code for watch them so their parents can play Magic. Kind of seems like, sorry for my language.
There's your
fuck
game
you.
group.
That's kind of like a fuck.
Hey, come on.
Screw you, to this person who is like trying more or less and actually showing up. I give her a ton of credit for even showing up to this game night, because if it was like, oh, you guys are playing Magic every week, I'll go to the movies.
Here's something fun. Lana, why don't you cook dinner for us all? That'll give you something to do.
Right. Hey, why don't you, repave the sidewalk while you're here? Like, here's some...
I got some shelves that need to be fixed.
They're giving her, like, menial tasks. Like, okay, let the non-magic person go in the corner. And, and then my other thing is, too, she does want to spend time with this group, but she wants to spend time with her significant other. How much time you spend in outside of game night? Like, is the Magic play maybe only an hour, 2 hours every week, and like the rest of the time you guys are at home constantly? So like I said, maybe, go do your own thing, or bring, if you want to hang out with a significant other and their friends, bring something along with you, crossword puzzle. But I understand like why you would want to say that. And even as I say, like, oh, bring a crossword puzzle, it's kind of like she is a second banana to this entire thing. And I do wish that, that Basil would reach out and bring her in more, change it up a bit, especially if you're playing 3 times a week or so. Like, that's a lot. That's a little much.
It sounds like 1 to 2, I will say, I think, from the case.
Okay, but still though, like, you can, or have a different thing going on to just include her more. And I do, it sucks that she has to deal with this. It sucks that, this is his hobby, but I do think Lana is not guilty.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like there could be more evidence we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But even if more stuff came to light, unless it was really damning, I don't think she's doing anything terrible. At worst, It's like you could maybe be doing a little better about this.
Right.
It is. I was thinking too, because it is tricky. We put ourselves in one perspective of bringing someone new into a group, but what if you like started a relationship with someone who always had a hockey night? That's what I'm comparing it to, as sports, because to me, that's really what Magic the Gathering is to me in my brain. It's the same
opposite
category as sports, like not a board game.
Because sports is still technically a game, but not a game you enjoy watching.
It's a game that's all about like the constant updates and rotations and starting lineups, just in the form of new cards and drafts and
or
shit.
Even just doing it this way, if somebody's a heavy video gamer and somebody's a heavy board gamer, a lot of times they don't really cross paths in the way of, entertainment value for some people. So it's that kind of thing.
It is hard because I do feel like I have a mindset as someone who loves board games where it is difficult for me to understand people who don't like them. Like, I still think if people who say they don't like board games just haven't played the right board games.
Right. But people
I feel that way.
But people who don't like Magic, it's like there's no other options. Like there's
Right.
there's like a variety, like there's different flavors of Magic cards, but at the end of the day, it's still Magic.
It's not like, oh, try playing this blue deck and then you'll like it.
Oh, but you're right. With the board games, it's like, okay, fine, you don't like playing roll and write games. Why don't you try playing a more of a party game? Or
maybe you like co-op games only and you don't like the competitive style or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Because definitely throwing somebody into like a hard, long game, is difficult. And like, maybe start them with like a Catan. Like we all kind of started out with something smaller, softer. But
I also bring that up to maybe to say that I might be kind of hypocritical here too, that it's being inside of a hobby, it's difficult to look out sometimes and understand other people might not be into it in the same way.
Is there any hobby that, like, if you met up with somebody and you were like liking them, was there any hobby?
Were they a werewolf?
Yeah. That they were doing, would you be like, no, thank you, and like back away?
I guess meth.
Drug use is not a hobby.
I don't know. I feel like it could be. I mean, skydiving.
For me, it would probably be sports, because sports does take up a long time, and it's a loud thing. So it's a lot of.
I mean, it depends on how the levels of it. It's not. I don't think there's anything that's immediately a no for me.
Well, if it was like somebody who was like, "Oh, I'm going to go. I got the season tickets to the game. I watch the special channels on TV. I have the."
It depends. I mean, if that's the only thing they're into,
right,
then probably we won't have much in common. But they might like other stuff. I don't know. Let us know if you're watching or listening out there. What are your red flags in the dating world? And how would you render a verdict on this case? Maybe you've been in a situation like this in real life. How do you suggest you bridge the gap if there's a kind of game you don't like to play that your significant other does? You can email us, geeksontrial@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment right on YouTube. It's also where you can go to submit a case of your own. Again, if maybe you have a game night dispute or some other geeky issue that you need settled by two professional judges here on our very professional podcast, you can email us or use a link in our description, which has a form. You just fill that right out. We'll give you fake names and we will settle it on the air, whether it be about trading card games, tabletop games, digital video games, DVD collections, or bird watching, or anything else in the geeky world.
Aren't all video games digital?
No.
Are there analog video games?
Of course.
Name one.
Pac-Man. He's the analog stick.
And if you would like to help support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/geeksontrial. $5 a month. That's all we're asking for. And you get some amazing content. You get early content. You get us, these two guys, talking about things that a wheel tells us to talk about. And boy, if you want to hear us talk about some foodstuffs and being on a deserted islands, it's going to be some fun episodes for you coming up. And that's over at patreon.com/geeksontrial. Where can people find you?
I just thought of a non-digital video game. The board games where you watch a VHS tape while you play. That's a non-digital video game.
All right, folks.
Hang it up.
He wins
Call
the
it.
show. That's it.
You can follow me online. If you liked hearing about all that Nintendo news, I was there covering it over at gonintendo.com, where I write news articles a few times a week. If you like Nintendo, you're a fan, it's a great place to go to get all the news so you don't miss anything at all. You can also follow my other stuff on my website, jonathanestis.com. How about you, buddy?
You can follow me over at youtube.com/thesnackguy. That's me. I'm Ivan Hahn, the snack guy. And it's where I go review different kinds of fun snacks from all around this crazy world of ours. That's youtube.com/thesnackguy. And ivanhahn.com for the rest.
Sick.
And until next time, I am Ivan Hahn, the one I mentioned before.
I am Jonathan Estes, and this case has definitely been shut the fuck tight.
Okay.
Sorry.